reading comes from Psalm 19, verses 1 through 14. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them, yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the end of the world. In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun. It is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is deprived of its warmth. The law of the Lord is perfect, refreshing the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The decrees of the Lord are firm, and all of them are righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the honeycomb. By them your servant is warned. In keeping them there is great reward. But who can discern their own errors? Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins. May they not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. May the Lord bless the reading and the hearing of his word.
So, next Sunday, as I just said, I'm starting a 3-month sabbatical. And this is the first I've taken in my professional life and my time as a minister. And I thought today I'd just tell you a little bit about what's coming. And I want to answer 3 basic questions. 1, what am I doing while I'm away from the church? 2, what will the church be doing while I'm away? And 3, why am I doing this? Why is this the right time for me to take this sabbatical? So those are kind of the 3 questions I'm going to use. Before I dive into the questions, I just want to acknowledge that this sabbatical that I'm going on is being funded by a grant that our church has received. The grant comes through the Christian Theological Seminary and is funded by the Lilly Endowment. And that's important, 1, so that you know that everything I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes is being paid for, not by your offerings, but by an outside source. And so I'm very thankful to CTS and to Lilly Endowment for making this possible. It also, because it's a grant, it's a competitive process. You apply for it, and as you might imagine, lots of pastors apply for this. In our time at St. Luke's, Jamelin applied and didn't receive the grant. I applied in 2024, also was denied, and through the encouragement of our leadership, I applied a second time, and I decided, it's like, I either get it this time or I'm not getting it at all. I'm not going to do this a third time, and thankfully I did. So anyway, so it is a competitive grant. I'm very thankful for it. And the title of my grant application, every grant application has a theme. So the theme I chose was worship, welcome, and wonder. Those are the 3 words that are kind of like the guiding stars of my sabbatical. And to me, those first 2 words are expressions of the great commandment. In worship, we love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And welcome is one of the ways that we can love our neighbor as ourselves by making space for other people in our lives. And then the word wonder, to me, we spent the whole Christmas Advent season talking about wonder, but it's that feeling of beauty and awe, surprise and awe caused by something beautiful, unexpected, unfamiliar, inexplicable. And I chose the 19th Psalm for today because to me, I feel like it articulates that sense of wonder of God's creation. The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day, they pour forth speech. Night after night, they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard, yet their voice goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. We are surrounded by God's glory. God's wonder surrounds us, but often the problem is we're just so busy, we don't have time to hear the voice of creation. We don't have space in our lives for wonder. To me, this is really the common denominator of all three of those words. You have to make space. You have to make space for worship. You can just go through the motions, but not really make space to give God your heart and your soul. You have to make space for welcome. We all get so busy sometimes. We don't even take good care of ourselves or the people who live close to us, much less the random people we might meet as we go through our lives. We make space for God's wonder. We can't force it to happen, but we can squeeze it out if we're not careful. So we have to make space for God to show up and for us to be astounded by how wonderful he is. And so that's what this sabbatical is about for me, is slowing down and making space in my life for worship, welcome, and wonder. So practically what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Spain. So next Tuesday, I'm leaving to go to Spain, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a walk along the pilgrimage walk called the Camino de Santiago. Now, the Caminos, that's just Spanish for path, and there are pathways all across Europe that you can take. This particular one I'm on goes from France all the way across northern Spain. I'm not walking that far. I'm just doing the last 100 kilometers. So I'm starting in a community called Sarria and walking to Santiago de Compostela, or Compostela de Santiago. And what's interesting about that place is since the 9th century, it's been honored as the place where St. James the Apostle is buried. And so that's what made it a pilgrimage site for the last 1,000 years. And so I'm going to go, and I don't exactly know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be a week by myself, walking every day, and just reflecting on God's voice and listening for him to speak in my life. And then after that week is over, I'm going to go back to Madrid, or Jalen's going to join me, and we're going to have some time, just the two of us in Madrid and Barcelona. And then when we get back at the end of May, beginning of June, we're going to do a whole family trip. And when school's out and Margaret's home from college, we're going to go to Northern California and go to San Francisco, but really spend most of our time in Yosemite. And I'm excited. I've never been to Yosemite, and so I want to see the redwoods, the giant sequoias. I'm really looking forward to that. And then when we get back, Margaret's starting her summer internship, and then Nathan and I are going to do a trip out west, just a father-son trip. And we're going to do Grand Canyon and Monument Valley and Horseshoe Bend and Antelope Canyon and Arches National Park, just a 10-day father-son trip. And you can see I've chosen places of natural wonder where I can just see the heavens declaring the glory of God. That's kind of the purpose of this trip. And so I really do hope to, between all these trips, to just create lifetime memories with people I love. And in between the trips, I have space and time to spend time with my brother and my mom in Tennessee, to take personal retreats to St. Meinrad Abbey in southern Indiana. I'm going to go back to the camp meeting that I grew up attending when I was a kid. And so just have some personal time of refreshment as well. And let me go back to the 19th Psalm for a second. So this is, he starts off with declaring the wonders, the glory of God, but then the psalmist ends up reflecting on the goodness of God's word. And he says 4 things about the law or the precepts of God: that they are perfect, trustworthy, right, and radiant. But to me, you can see I highlighted with her. For me, the thing that spoke to me was, the one who reflects on God's law, who makes space for it in their lives. This is the impact. It refreshes the soul. It gives wisdom to the simple. It brings joy to the heart and gives light to the eyes. So that, for me, has been my hope for what the sabbatical will be for me. Refreshment, joy, wisdom, vision. That's what I hope will happen in my life during this sabbatical. So what about the church? Well, I want to say for you guys that while I am gone, you're in great hands. We have an amazing, wonderful staff. I'm so thankful for Pastor Ashleah, who'll be directing everything in my absence. But one of the beautiful things about this grant is the money isn't just for me to go on travels, but also it provides for extra support here at the church, people who will speak. And so anyways, first off, we're going to bring back Pastor Perry Montgomery. Perry hasn't been here for the last handful of years, so we're excited. Perry's going to come back for the summer and help out with Pastor Ashleah with pastoral care, so that we can make sure that the church has adequate coverage for any needs that may come up. And so Pastor Perry will be here next week, and we can give him a warm welcome back. In addition to that, there's all kinds of speakers that are going to be here on Sunday mornings. There's a full list of these speakers in the schedule in your bulletin, and some of these names you recognize. Some of the faces are familiar. Some of them are not, and that's okay. But they are all, I can tell you, excellent, wonderful speakers that I'm delighted are coming to our church, and I can't wait for the word, the message that they're going to bring to you week after week. It's going to be tremendous and wonderful. And in addition to these great speakers, we have a series of workshops that'll happen as well, about once each month. So in the month of May, we're having Rory Nelson, who is coming, and Rory Nolan. And Rory is a mentor of Fran's, who worked with him when he was at Willow Creek in Chicago. He's a nationally sought-after speaker and expert about worship, and so he's going to preach that Sunday morning and then lead a workshop after church about worship and how to deepen your worship and praise of God. And then for the second word, welcome, we have two different workshops. The first one in June, we're going to have Immigrant Welcome Center come here and spend the morning with us, and they're going to offer a workshop after church. And I know immigration is a very hot topic right now, and Immigrant Welcome Center, it's not about partisan. It's just about how do we recognize people in our community and extend welcome to those who are trying to kind of, maybe displaced from their homes and trying to find a new home here. And then also with welcome in July, we're going to have Yvonne Gentile coming to be with us. So Yvonne is the director of guest experiences at Church of the Resurrection. Church of the Resurrection, if you don't know, is the biggest Methodist church in the country. It's Adam Hamilton's church. And so Yvonne has a huge job, and she's proven when it comes to church hospitality. And so between these two experiences, so she's going to preach and then offer a workshop as well. And between these two experiences, I hope it'll deepen our welcome both within the four walls of the church and outside in the community. And then lastly, for wonder, at the end of the sabbatical, we're going to have two of my favorite professors from my time at Duke. They're now at Perkins Seminary in Dallas. They're going to be with us, Doctors Jack and Priscilla Pope Levison. So Jack, you may recognize. He's been here at least on two different occasions to do retreats and workshops with us. He was my favorite professor in seminary. He's the guy, if you ever get tired of me talking about Old Testament Hebrew and New Testament Greek, blame Jack, because he's the guy who taught me to love doing word studies when I was in seminary. His wife, Priscilla, is amazing and dynamic as well. She's not been here to this church before. I was a TA for Priscilla's class that Jamelin took. That's how Jamelin and I met, as a TA for Priscilla. And so they're a dynamic duo, and we're excited to have them come. And so we got, and you can read more about all of those on the back side of your list. And I should add, there's a website at the bottom with a link to all the speakers, so you can see their bios, see who's coming each week. And I know the more you read about them, I hope the more excited you're going to get. I've been excited about this for a while. And my hope for you all is the same as the hope I have for myself. Do you remember the 4 words from the Psalm? That you'll have refreshment for your soul, joy for your heart, wisdom, for the present, and vision, light for the future. Or as I put it in my grant application, I pray that all of us would have deeper worship, wider welcome, and a more readiness for God's wonders in our midst. So then to answer the last question, why am I taking the sabbatical? Well, let me answer that, I guess, by referring to a show that I've been watching lately. I mentioned this a handful of weeks ago, that one of my favorite shows right now is The Pit. It's a show on HBO Max. And if you haven't seen it, The Pit follows a single shift. Like each season is a single shift in a downtown Pittsburgh emergency department, and each episode follows 1 hour of that shift. The central character in the show is Dr. Rabinovich, who played by Noah Wiley, who you may remember from ER. Now he's kind of grown up as the doctor, and he's the attending of the emergency department. And in the first season, Dr. Robbie, as he's called, Dr. Robbie is everything you'd want an attending physician to be. He's gentle, compassionate, patient, wise, discerning. He gives himself wholeheartedly to his patients and to his staff. You're like, that's the ideal doctor, you know? And then you get to the second season, and you learn that this is Robbie's last shift before he's going on sabbatical, a 3-month sabbatical. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, well, this is interesting because I'm going on sabbatical. But if you watch the show, you quickly learn that the Dr. Robbie needs this sabbatical very badly. He's short-tempered, and he goes from being like, wow, he's kind of acting jerky, to, whoa, this dude is taking it out on everybody, to he's in a really dark place. And you feel compassion for him because you can see he can't figure it out. He loves his job. It's the thing that gives him life. He loves it, but he also says it's sucking the soul right out of him, and he doesn't know who he is apart from it. So he's feeling this dynamic, this crushing fear of, once he leaves, will he know who he is anymore? So I watched this whole season play out. The last episode was this last Thursday. And afterwards I was reflecting. I was like, am I Dr. Robbie? You know, like, is that me? Am I in the same place he's in? And I don't think I'm in that dark of a place. I don't think I've been taking it out on everyone around me. You can ask Jamelyn. She'll probably tell you the truth, whether that's the case, or my staff. I hope I haven't. But I do recognize, and to some degree identify with, the fatigue he expressed. There have been seasons of ministry that I felt sucked the life out of me, where I have felt sometimes that love-hate ministry, or a love-hate relationship with ministry, that like I love ministry. I love all the wonderful things I get to be part of and see, but at the same time, it does take a toll. And I have felt that increasing. I shared a handful of weeks ago about how I had that meltdown on the golf course just because some random guy I was paired with wanted to have a debate about same-sex marriage, and I just didn't have any energy, time, patience to have that conversation again. And I would say, you know, like I feel that there have been other times where this weariness has come, and I know a lot of us feel weariness, particularly around conflict. I feel like that's where I feel the most weary, if I'm being honest with you guys. And we see all the, you know, we get tired of it, the conflict in our world and in politics. And I think part of the challenge I feel as a pastor is that I don't get to kind of avoid those things, because that's what my responsibility is to talk about those things and talk about God's word and what does God's word have to say about them. And the problem is that God's word is confrontational. It is challenging. It's meant to confront what's broken in the world. It's meant to confront what's broken in our own lives. And I can tell you, my spiritual gift is not confrontation. It drains me. It's hard. My spiritual gifts, I think, are gentleness and patience and compassion, the things that I said Dr. Robbie exemplified in first season. That's why I identify with him. Like that's my sweet spot where I live. And I do think those gifts have been needed in the church, but there have been times where I just felt like they're tapped out. Like I just don't have any more patience or any more gentleness or any more compassion to give. I have those moments. And I guess I want to acknowledge that one of the reasons I think Dr. Robbie is this great character is because I think all of us, to some degree, we've all had jobs that kind of all had seasons of life that just suck things out of us. And we all have this love-hate relation that we give our life to something, and yet it also exacts a toll. And if you're in a place where you're tired and worn out, I can't promise you the gift of sabbatical. I recognize it's kind of this thing I get to do, and it's wonderful. But I do hope the themes that we laid out, that I've talked about this morning, that if we can make space in our lives for worship and welcome and wonder, those things are restoring, replenishing. When I started ministry, I always say that I want to finish ministry with as much love for God and as much love for the church as when I began. And I'm thankful I haven't lost those things, but I do recognize that I need space to let them be replenished, and that's what this is about. Ironically, there's so much good happening in our church, right? At the same time that I'm kind of feeling this weariness, I'm also encouraged by all the wonder. I'm deeply hopeful. We've gone through the tough times. We've endured some tough losses, and I feel the spirit of replenishment happening in our church. I feel it every time I see new folks who've come to the church for the first time, and I'm so glad they're here. You're here. I'm glad for the connections we're making. It's wonderful. I love when new people join a Bible study that I'm leading for the first time, and they say, "This is my first time to do a Bible study," or "my first time to read these portions of the Bible," and to see the light bulb come on, and people say, "Oh, now I get it. Now I see something I didn't see before." That's exciting. I love seeing you guys out in the community. I absolutely love when I see one of you in big or small ways serving others, and just knowing it fills me with such pride. There's so much good happening in our church. This fall, we're planning a big celebration because August 30th is the anniversary of the first worship service we had in this building. And so we're planning this huge 25th anniversary. We're going to invite back all the pastors and worship leaders, and we hope it's going to be a really fun celebration. And just planning for this, like we just started the planning for it, makes me realize just how much good has happened and is happening through our church. And in fact, it's so much that we decided we can't just do one Sunday of celebration. We're going to do like a whole month. The whole month of September is going to be a month of celebration. And so I have an ask for you. One of the things we want to do is we want to encourage you to share your story of how God has blessed you, how God has worked in your life, either, when you're, something individually where God has worked in your life and you've seen him in a new way, or maybe through the ministries of this church, one of the ways you've experienced God. And so instead of my daily devotions when I get back, what we want to do is we want to send out every day your devotions as we celebrate the ways God is working with us. So John Elligood, our communications director, is going to send out a prompt in a handful of weeks inviting you to share your stories of how you've seen God working either in your life or in this place. And as we do all this celebration, remembering and giving thanks for how God is working, we're going to be looking ahead to where God is taking us in the future. And because I believe there's some great opportunities, possibilities that are ahead of us. I have no idea where God is leading us, but I know it's going to be great and good. I talked this week with the bishop who was with us last Sunday, and I said, hey, I know you can't promise how long I get to stay at Zionsville, but I really see great things ahead. And she said, Dave, here's what I can tell you. Go on sabbatical, get replenished, and when you come back, be all in, and I will be there for you and supporting you because I think you're doing great things, and I think great things are ahead for the Zionsville Methodist Church. So that's, I guess I need to say that because I'm not leaving. I'm coming back, and I'm excited, and I hope that you'll take this time too, that just as I'm getting refreshment and joy and vision and wisdom, I hope you're doing the same so that when we're back in the fall, we can pursue with passion and joy the vision that God, the plans that God has for us. And the last thing I just want to say is I want to say thank you. because I recognize this sabbatical as a gift, right? It's a once-in-a-career kind of thing. It's pure gift. And I want to say thank you to CTS and the Lilly Foundation for making it possible. I also want to say thank you to our leaders, some of whom I see out here who were with me when I applied the first year and got denied, and then encouraged me, Dave, try again. Get back on that horse, try again. I want to say thank you to my staff who I know, the only reason I can do this is because I know they're going to do a great job taking care of this church and taking care of you all. And I thank you for giving me that assurance. I really deeply appreciate it. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to you. Because since we announced this a handful of months ago, I've gotten so many notes, gifts, books, words of encouragement, prayers. Thank you for your support for me and for my family. I sense it. I feel it. I appreciate it. I really feel cared for as your pastor, and I'm thankful for that. The thing about a gift, I struggle with this. I'm not very good at receiving gifts. Jalen will tell you this. I'm not very good about it because I feel like I have to earn it. You ever feel that way? Like with a gift, like, okay, I have to prove I deserved it. I have to show that this was merited, or I have to say how I'm going to use it. Like say, this is how this gift is going to be productive in my life. And I'm trying right now to resist that because that kind of spoils the gift. I'm just trying to rest in your love and care and to receive it as gift. And with that in my heart, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to take a moment of prayer and song. And Fran's going to lead us in a song that he shared with me, Restore Our Soul, because that's what this is about. And I pray that you can enter into this song and just pour out before God any place where you're needing restoration as well. And trust that his Spirit, that's what God does. He brings restoration to us all. Take it away, Fran.